Now, I want to introduce a guest to you tonight that I had the pleasure of having a chat with today and had a pleasure of looking at what she does. Her name is Dr. Donna Marie Thompson, and she's Ph.D. You can find her information at www.bouncebacknow.com. We have the pleasure of talking today. Hello, Donna Marie. How are you?
Hi, Dr. Paul. Thank you so much for having me on.
Oh, it's a pleasure, and we really like that title, How to Bounce Back from Being Dumped. Woo. How does that work, Donna?
Well,
Donna Marie, excuse me.
We want boomer women to regroup and get focused again. And many people I talk to are looking in their early stages of breaking up, thinking back that that was the perfect relationship. Well, obviously it wasn't, or you wouldn't have broken up. So this initial feeling of getting past that is the most primary thing, where you look back and glorify everything that was in that past relationship. So I help people to get a more realistic view of what the future holds and what the present holds for them right this minute.
So in other words, like the country western song, The Good Times?
Oh, the good times are coming, and it depends on where you are. I know I went down, I had a catastrophic breakup, and someone said it's all for the best, and I was ready to smack them. Like, who are you to tell? I'm grieving, I'm dying here, and you're telling me it's all for the best. If I could have smacked him, I would have.
Fortunately, you were not armed, is that it?
Yes. And now the answer is we can make the best of it. But you certainly can't tell someone that's in the middle of the throes of just getting dumped that it's all for the best. So you have to be really careful about when you're helping.
How did you bounce back? What techniques did you use?
Well, my breakup was over top of my mother dying.
Oh my!
It was truly catastrophic. I mean, anybody who has a mother with Alzheimer's can really relate. My total mind was just trying to take care of my mom. I really couldn't deal with my fiance. It just was not possible. And when my mom was in the ICU on a ventilator, the first thing I did was I got in touch with my faith that I hadn't touched for 40 years. And I had no answers, so that really helped me. The second piece was I didn't go to a coach. I needed more. I became a coach.
Really?
I wanted all the tools. I need everything. Just going to a coach for a month or two wasn't going to cut it. So I became a certified professional coach and a certified NLP practitioner and a master practitioner of the Energy Leadership Index for me. And
wow.
that's kind of fun, though. But now I have
all
these tools,
approach, isn't
and
it?
My life is different.
Oh, yeah. Well, the approach is different. I mean, you're going into anticipating instructing others through what you've witnessed. Probably a great idea. I'm sure you're able to help a lot of people who happen to be in the process of bouncing back.
Well, yeah, that's my whole mission now is when I lost my mother, my man, my money, and my health all at the same time.
And that was the good news, right?
Yeah. And now I had a pinched nerve in my neck. I couldn't use my right hand for 10 months.
Oh, wow. Was that a result of the stress?
Yes, that's what they're saying is that 11 hours a day on the computer didn't help, but losing everything else didn't help either. And now I inline skate 13 miles.
You inline skate 13 miles, every day, every week, every month?
Well, today I did. I'm 58 years old, and I inline skate 13 miles, and today I did 9. And there's just different things that you can do to enable yourself to be as fit and just healthy as you possibly can be. Now, everyone's different. And
well,
this
I'm
works
106, but I look great for my age.
Well, I think you look fantastic for your age. I don't know your age, but you look fantastic anyway.
106, that'll work.
106, you look really young.
Absolutely. Take those vitamins.
I wouldn't have guessed a day over 102.
Thank you. I'll take that as a compliment.
Okay.
Tell me about the inline skating and at your point in time. That's remarkable.
Well, I really want to do low-impact work, and I skated a bunch when I was really young. In my, 8 to 10 or something. I loved to skate. And I was biking, and I saw these people skate on by, and I said, that looks so free. And now I live in D.C., and there's really nice parks and places to skate, so it's really safe and it's really happy. And what it does is that I can skate alone. I can start when I want. I can go as fast as I want or as slow as I want, and I can stop when I want. And it really is freeing. And I had given up tennis because I could never find a partner, and the skating is completely free, and you could take your skates with you anywhere and skate anywhere, anytime.
Well, that's what I say about golf. I got so good I quit. You can't find a partner. Okay, I'll buy into that. You believe me, I'll believe you. Let's go back to what you said, though, where you said really free. And in context of, my background, PhD in behavioral psychology, and I'm listening to you. I listen at you as well as to you. In context of what you're saying, you're inundated by this horrific experience, and now I hear you've said free a number of times. So this is really not only a physical exercise for you, the inline skating, but a mental exercise.
Absolutely. And what it does for me is it completely takes my mind away from everything else. When I'm skating, I'm not worrying or fretting about anything. And so I'd encourage all your listeners to find the thing that's good for them, whether it's swimming or walking or hiking or knitting or anything that can really, even Sudoku, anything that absorbs your mind in a real positive, challenging way so that you're not thinking about your worries.
Not carrying that baggage around, right?
Right. The foundation for healing is to give yourself some space where you can actually, even in the middle of a situation where you could have a little bit of peace, a little bit of solace, and that's what a really engaging hobby can do. And it's really part of bouncing back now.
Oh, I agree with you totally. In fact, you're reflecting the very things that I say on this show. It all depends on how you feel about you, doesn't it?
Oh, absolutely. Eleanor Roosevelt said, no one can insult you, no one can hurt your feelings without your permission.
Exactly.
I didn't know what that meant, and now I live it. And I encourage everyone else to do that. When people say things to you, you have a choice to just block it. I didn't realize that was possible. I spent 50 years taking on everything that everybody said. If someone didn't like me, if someone argued with me, I just took it all in and said there's something wrong with me.
Aha. I hear that.
Forget it.
I've said this so often. Donna Marie, when I hear these people that email us and call us, and what's wrong with me, and I say stop, and I'm called Dr. Tough Love. What's wrong with them? Don't put that load on yourself, right?
Absolutely not. And anybody that's rude to you is a rude person. So it is really not based on you. And you, as soon as you begin to assert yourself and your space, you will find that people will begin to treat you differently.
Amen.
And I've just learned this in the last 3 years of my life, so better late than never.
Say that again. I want my listeners and viewers to hear that. Say that again. When you assert yourself.
Oh, when you assert yourself, then other people begin to give you space and give you more respect.
Absolutely.
When you respect yourself, other people will respect you immediately.
Yes, they do. And I have said that so often. I'm really happy that you brought that up, because too often, especially with women, and unfortunately it is, they have this feeling that it's my fault, I've got to be low profile, and on. But what you just said has to be brought to the fore. And that's the only way that, frankly, women have gotten success in this country, from voting rights on through.
Absolutely. To claim your space in a polite, kind, compassionate way. Now, we don't want to turn into aggressive type A bullies. We don't want to turn into men. A lot of us have had a very high-powered career, and most of us turn into major masculine energy. When you work in corporate, you're bringing all your masculine energy. And we've succeeded, in the last dozen years, decades of doing that. But we don't have to act like that all the time. We can use feminine energy, and we can be nice, but still claim our space. Well,
I hear that. I'm called Dr. Tough Love, and I think a part of what I know a part of what I'm doing is to try to bring people into that realm, women especially, into that realm, saying, wait a minute. And I want them to be assertive in areas. For example, you don't have to wait for a man to ask you out for a date. You want a date with a guy, you tell him, hey, let's have coffee first and talk about it, and then don't get the idea that I'm hitting on you. I'm interested in knowing more about you. And I think we're getting into that mode more and more. Would you agree?
Yes, absolutely. As long as you go in with the nice intentions. Some women tend to get very aggressive, and then I think they end up losing because they get taken advantage of. But what you just said was that just coffee, just get to know you, and then you can decide if it's even worth pursuing.
Right.
So if you go in with a kind, curious, just want to get to know you, then you can take it from there. But just don't be too aggressive, especially physically. And some guys don't like to be touched.
Well,
I had read about online dating where after you talk to somebody for 3 or 4 weeks, all of a sudden you think you know them really well, and then you get too aggressive in that first meeting. And so some guys, the nice guys, sometimes back off. So just put a nice set of balance in there about what's appropriate to actually meet someone for the first time.
I don't completely agree with that, and the reason I don't is because right now I think the universities have 60% females, 40% males as a ratio. Am I correct? Is that pretty close?
I think so.
That means that, and I tell these women, that means that you are going to have to take the initiative. And I like to define it as being assertive as opposed to being aggressive. And I think if you want to win in that situation, you're going to have to show some assertiveness. Am I wrong on that?
Oh, no, assertive is perfect. Aggressive is not.
Okay.
And too sexual, too open, too fast is not usually good, especially, most of the people I work with are boomer women, and most of us are generally modest, and we really want to get to know somebody before moving forward. So assertive is perfect, with good intentions is perfect, but I would just not be too physically aggressive or making yourself too available that it looks like you're desperate. So you want to go in with a calm, friendly attitude and try to be friends. Just have a good conversation. And it's really good practice, especially if you're coming out of a divorce, if you haven't been with a guy in a long time. Just have a conversation. What are men interested in? Learn about the news, look at sports, do whatever. We got the World Series going, we got football going. Just get timely so that you're an interesting person.
Right. We had that tonight. What do men want? One of the things was they want somebody that has an opinion. Don't have zero opinion. Don't be unknowledgeable. Know what you're doing, where you're going, at least a little bit. I think in your terminology with women who are quote-unquote boomers versus women who may be in their 20s, that's a highly aggressive group, 30s, highly aggressive group. I think you found that to be true, too. When you hit into the 40s and so forth, from this point in time, they tend to be less so in the 50s as well. When that group we now see in the 20s hits 50, they're going to be equally aggressive, though, and as they have been in their 20s, I think, unless they mellow out.
Well, I don't think that our models change very much. A lot of our core values and our character are formed before we're 15. So if that's your modus operandi, that's what you do. But if they've grown up that way and the guys are used to that, then that's a whole different story. But what we're finding out there now is people that have been married for 25 and 30 years are single for the first time now. And it's a whole new ballgame. So I try to coach my boomer women to just get out there and do what you're comfortable with, have some friends, and do interesting activities, and just get to know people. And we go out on groups. We have tons of meetup groups in D.C. here. I'm in about 20 of them. And basically just mixing and mingling so that your social skills are better and you're not so rusty. And when you do that, you get more confidence. When you have more confidence, you're more attractive and more things happen. So it's all like a snowball. Once it starts working for you, it's unstoppable.
Sounds terrific. We're going to stop on that. We're going to a break right now. We'll be back right after these messages. This is the Dr. Paul Show.
back to the Dr. Paul Show.
This is Dr. Paul. We are back with a very interesting guest, Donna Marie Thompson, and that's Dr. Donna Marie Thompson, PhD. You can find her website at www.bouncebacknow.com. That's www.bouncebacknow.com. This has really been an incredible guest because she agrees with me.
Wasn't that a prerequisite?
Yeah, well, yes, we talked about that. Really, I'm called Dr. Tough Love, and one of the things I think I mentioned to you over the break was that I used to have a can of STP on the desk, and I said to the ladies, I said, STP means see the people. You're not going to meet anybody by sitting in front of that tube every night. If you do that, you will not win. And you just mentioned to me over the break that you're in, 20 meetup groups?
Yes. Washington, D.C., I think we're the sixth largest collection of meetup groups in the country.
Wow.
And there is everything under the sun about playing chess, hiking, kayaking, walking, theater, everything you can imagine, and homeschooled kids. And there's meetups in the middle of the day at Panera Bread to just chat and talk about whatever. And it's an amazing way to meet people with similar interests. And especially if you're coming out of a breakup, what you want to do is meet people who don't know about your breakup. You just want to go to a movie and enjoy the movie. That's a release. If you spend all of your time talking to all of your friends about your breakup, you don't get a break.
No, you're right, exactly. And what it becomes is your friends saying, oh, no, don't bring her around. She's going to talk about that breakup over and over and over, and you're not going to have any friends. They don't want to hear it. Would you rather see a picture of my kids? No, I don't think so, that either. One thing that I had the pleasure of being a member of at one point in time was the American Cancer Society in the Tampa Bay area had a singles group. And, of course, we did many things for the American Cancer Society, but we also had, if you will, meetups. And we would have these soirees and seminars. We'd have go to various clubs. That was excellent because it was a twofold purpose. One, you're, of course, meeting people as you're talking about, and, of course, helping a charity that really was deserving.
Win-win.
Oh, yeah, for sure. When you're doing your inline skating, do you have a group that does that?
No, actually, what I've done, there's a very aggressive group actually called WAR, the Washington Area Road Skaters. And these people are really bold. They skate in downtown D.C. against traffic with all the potholes and manhole covers and traffic lights. And that's just not my type of skating. I'm kind of an endurance skater, so I skate in some of the parks where I have a 3-mile. I can just go and go and go, and that's kind of like a fitness endurance skater. The urban skaters are very aggressive, and I don't think I have the technical skills nor the courage.
Maybe you have the sanity to not do it. Otherwise, you may not be around. It sounds like some sort of mental aberration to me, but I'm not going there.
Well, it's a death wish, I think, and they call it war. So it's like, okay, well, that's 2 reasons I'm not joining. So.
Right, suicidal. Well, going on to the bouncing back, are there stages that women may go through, and I'm sure men too, that they get dumped, and men get dumped as well as women? What is there kind of a stages sort of direction that happens when they break up?
Yes, absolutely. Especially if you're the one that's been on the receiving end, you tend to go into this what if, why me, victim mentality. And a normal set of grief experiences is perfectly normal. I mean, if you're breaking up out of a 7 or 12-year relationship, of course you should have grief. You should mourn what you've lost. But sometimes that takes too long, and we stay in this victim mentality.
Oh, boy.
And the way to get out of that is to get angry. And it's
really?
Kind of illogical, but it's part of this energy leadership index. The victim energy is like curling up in a ball on your couch, and you're not going to get out of there. But as soon as you become angry, there's more energy. Even though it's negative energy, there's more energy. And then you can use that to move into the next stages. And I have a 5 E's to Recovery program. And by the time we get to the third step, it's embrace what is. So you begin to put the past behind you, try to figure out what happened, but never why. We don't care why. And we say, here is today. This next hour is my hour. Now, you can choose, I want to cry for the next hour. It's a perfectly valid choice. Or you could say, I'm going to cry for 15 minutes, and then I'm going to go take a walk. And you could make those choices because the next hour is yours. And once you begin to own that you control your time, your feelings, and your actions, then you're on the road to recovery, and it is so exciting to watch my boomer women go through this.
So what you're saying is that you are controlling your emotions are not controlling you. Am I hearing that right?
That's absolutely right. Now, all of these thoughts and feelings can come into your head, but you can ban and dismiss them. You don't have to keep them. We really can't stop them from coming in. But you don't need to own it. You don't need to marry it. You don't need to spend an hour wallowing in something somebody said or whatever. Now, if you choose to sit there and cry for 30 minutes, that's perfectly fine. But at the end of 30 minutes, get up and do something else. So you've made a contract with yourself. And crying is a very important thing. But when you're done with your 30 minutes, go do something else. And then you'll realize that you can stop any time you want.
A contract with yourself. Do you have them put it in writing?
Well, it's part of I have a workbook, the 5 E's to Recovery workbook, where they actually make commitments. When you tell people that they cannot grieve or they cannot cry, that's the wrong advice.
I agree.
So by allowing them, depending on where they are in their recovery, to say it's okay to cry, but not for 5 hours, it's not. And what else would you like to do in 5 hours? And then they say, well, geez, I should do the dishes. I should do well, there you go. So then set aside your time for crying and grief. So by giving yourself permission to grieve, somehow all the walls break down, because I haven't forbidden you from grieving. I'm just saying manage it. And it's somehow so empowering that you can choose to cry, you can choose to sit on the couch, but when your time's up, you've got to go do something else, whatever you said you were going to do. And then you become disciplined and you begin to honor yourself. And boy, that is fundamental to bouncing back now. Self-respect. Absolutely.
I like that. I have not heard it stated in that way before. I'm thinking about the 5-step grieving process, disbelief, et cetera, You've got anger in there, but you're talking about a 5-day process. Is that correct?
No. It's called the 5 E's to Recovery, and I normally I do it in 5 weeks just to do the overview. But some people take longer, and other people, it just depends on where you are. Especially widows and other different people that have had very, very serious losses. My model's really made for breakups, where you can begin to assess what was right and what was wrong. And it's really, really helpful to get a clear view of that. So you can do it in 5 weeks, and it's also in the back of my book, so you can do it for as ever long as you want. But each person is a different pace, and when you see the program overall, you know where you're going, and then you could insert yourself wherever you need to and take it at your own pace.
What is your success ratio?
95%.
Wow. I'm impressed.
Because everybody owns where they are. And I did have a very troubled lady who was on medication and depressed, and so I'm not sure that's even valid.
Okay, I'll grant you that.
If there's other things that are overlaid, but I had one of her wonderful client in California, she got to the 3rd E, and she never even wanted to go on. As soon as she accepted, it's called embrace the situation. As soon as you realize that you are where you are, and what is, and it's like Byron Katie, loving what is. If this is my today, and I can do something with it, let me do something good with it. And once you get to that point, she was cured. So it was really funny. So it was a 5E program, but she only needed 3 E's.
Well, that sounds like a success ratio that somebody can believe in. I certainly believe in it. Donna Marie Thompson, Dr. Donna Marie Thompson, Ph.D., thank you for being aboard. I'm going to mention that website to you again, www.bounce bouncebacknow.com. Anything you'd like to add?
No, I just let everybody know that there's hope and there's help wherever you are. If you've suffered a breakup or anything else, there's hope. There's tons of resources out there, so don't do it alone.
Great having you aboard.
Thank you, Dr. Paul.